Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the season 2 of our program, Dr. Tapaswini's Corner. That's me, and I work as a head and neck cancer surgeon. Your love and your encouragement brought us back today with a new series. Today, we're going to discuss about a holy herb, which was a household name for various ceremonial purposes. A herb with medicinal properties to treat conditions like tetanus, convulsions, skin cancer, fever, pain, etc. Ironically, the same herb has become the leading cause of death worldwide. Guess, and that's tobacco. We have with us Dr. Pankaj Chaturvedi, a renowned head and neck cancer surgeon and professor at the Tata Memorial Hospital, Mumbai. You're also the Deputy Director of Center for Cancer Epidemiology, Tata Cancer Center, Mumbai, Officer in charge of the Homi Baba Cancer Hospital, Varanasi. Besides holding several positions of repute with the international bodies, you've been awarded for your exemplary work pertaining to tobacco control by the WHO and the United Nations. Your Voice of Tobacco Victims campaign has made a huge impact at the national and international level. The anti-tobacco videos screened in every television and cinema halls in India has been highly sensitizing. Banning of gutkha in the various states, leading to its decreased consumption, has been phenomenal. Welcome, Dr. Pankaj, to the show. And it's an honor to have you here today.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir. So this holy herb, also called the God's remedy, is actually a plant which was native of South America. And if I'm not mistaken, there are more than 68 species of this plant. How did this find an entry to the shores of India?
So thank you, Tapaswini, and certainly it is a mistake that our ancestors did, and we all are suffering from the mistake that somebody did inadvertently in the past. And why I say inadvertently in the past, because this crop was brought to Europe by the traders from the South America. And when they brought it to the Renaissance, which was happening in the UK that time, it was a sign of affluence to smoke tobacco. And that was a time when there was a huge demand and there was a little way to grow because of the climatic conditions in the Europe. And therefore, they looked at the colony like India to cultivate tobacco for their use in Europe. So the Portuguese introduced this crop to India, which was never native to Indian subcontinent, for the usage in UK. Now, what happens that when you grow something so bad and addictive, slowly it got the domestic market. And when they left the legacy of tobacco cultivation as a cash crop, where the farmers as well as the users, they're all suffering, and yet we are not able to get rid of this crop.
Correct. Sounds interesting. But this has been largely used for ceremonial purposes. I mean, people were using it to ward off spirits. And also it was so largely worshipped. While its cultivation has been there for more than 8,000 years, but why is it that the repercussions in this society are being experienced only in the past century?
What happens that as the evidence is emerging, and this evidence has been there for more than 100 years now, and a good evidence that tobacco as a generic crop is causing hazard to the farmer through green tobacco sickness, that means acute nicotine toxicity. Then the curing of tobacco by wood is causing environmental damage and deforestation, and also food insecurity in the population. Coming to the users, we all know that it kills half of its users. That means every second tobacco user dies prematurely because of cancer, heart attack, and stroke, and many of the diseases which are tobacco related. What is more important to understand, this is the only consumer product in the world which has got no good use except causing death and disability.
Correct, correct. So the market is flooded with various brands of cigarette. There are more than 100 cigarette companies producing Marlboro, Pall Mall, then you have Navy Cut, Royal, Camel, Newport, Duke. How are they made different from each other? How is one brand different from the other?
See, there is nothing different except the name and perhaps the population at which that name is targeted. Because lot of research has been done by the tobacco industry themselves, and there are hidden industry documents that have been surfaced because of the Minnesota agreement, where all their documents had to be revealed and put it in the public domain. So they have done a lot of research and found that there is no safe form of tobacco, there is no safe pattern of usage of tobacco, and there is no safe level of nitrosamine. That means the bottom line is that all the brands, all the name ultimately lead to same thing, that is half of their target population and user, they die prematurely.
That's right. But is the flavor different? Do they cure it in a different manner as a result? I mean, because of the process of aging of the leaves, you find that the taste and the flavor of one is different from the other.
So this is a very good question. So basically, if you ask me one chemical process that I can attribute to millions of lives lost, I will not even tell the nuclear weapon, or I will not tell about the Tomahawk cruise missiles, or even the Ukraine war, I would not say has led because of the result of the technological advantage. What has really been a discovery and a technological process that has led to 1 million people dying in the last century, which is much more than even World War. And India, we are losing almost 13.5 lakh people every day. This is because of a process called curing. Curing means that there was a time when people used to smoke cigarettes with the raw tobacco and those powdered tobacco. So whenever you smoke, the flakes will go in your mouth and then it is very irritating. So what they did ammonicalization of that and processing of that so that it becomes a very fine powder, which if you inhale into your lung, then you will not have that cough and irritation which used to happen with cigar and cheroot and all that. What was the result of that? The result was that people can breathe and inhale the smoke much more deeply, which led to an epidemic of lung cancer and many other cancer, because otherwise people used to smoke it, keep it in the throat and exhale it, never inhaled it so deeply. And then what additional they did, they put a filter on tip of this. So they said that the filter is going to help you filter out the carcinogen. That was to filter out those flakes so that it doesn't getting into your mouth and you get disturbed. So in short, there are various varieties where they do the flavoring, they do add some I would say appetite agents also, because many of the young women, they used to have it to reduce their weight and remain petite. So what happens that they found that actually some anorexic agents were added to tobacco so that the women use it as a lifestyle product.
There are different other formulations also. Now, if we look at the smokeless forms, how are they also dispensed other than the chewing forms?
So please understand that if I give you a tobacco, and I always say areca nut. In India, when you talk about smokeless tobacco, you can't differentiate tobacco and areca nut because they go together. So if I give you areca nut or tobacco, grind it, no person in the world can really find it palatable and attractive and something that gives you a kick of eating, except that once you are addicted, then whatever taste it might be, you will use it. So imagine our children and youth, how did they get attracted to this tobacco, which is tasteless, rather it is bitter. So what has industry done? You powder it, put some sugar into it, put some
Mhm.
condiment, freshness, some agents which give you mouth freshening, that cool mint kind of
Correct.
thing. So this is how a tasteless and a bitter product is converted into a mouth freshener. And
Mhm.
then you have a huge market which is exemplified by all top Bollywood celebrities endorsing it. So you can imagine how much money is there in this product, which is smokeless tobacco, as harmful as any other tobacco product.
But we have some states, they use it as toothpaste. It's also being marketed as, teeth whiteners. Are these just commercials, or actually do they work the way they are promoted?
See, what happens that there was a time when people who are addicted to tobacco, they use it in different forms. Like some people use as dentifrice, which was as a toothpaste. Some people
Mhm.
smoked, some people chewed, some people even drank. You will be surprised that tuibur is a drink in the Northeast where people soak it and drink it. So there are variety of this, and the most disgusting part was the one which you inhale. That is the naswar. So there are
Right.
flakes of tobacco you inhale into the nose. I can't imagine somebody having it. But yes, you are right that there are variety of ways smokeless tobacco is consumed, and all the studies are uniform, consistent that none is a safe form of use of tobacco.
Correct. I fully agree with you. But, the market speaks that because the smoke is more harmful, better to use the smokeless form. How true is it? And please tell us, what exactly are the harmful effects of tobacco on the entire human system?
So a lot of patients do come to me and their relatives and say that, Doctor, Saab, smoking is harmful, but smokeless
Right.
tobacco is not harmful. So my answer is that yes, if you smoke, you die of lung cancer. And if you chew
Uh-huh.
tobacco, you die of mouth cancer. You have to choose between the lung cancer and mouth cancer. Whichever you prefer, you go ahead with that. Now, what we have to understand that any form of tobacco, it contains 28 named carcinogens. So within tobacco, generic is also carcinogenic. Within that, there are chemicals which have independently been proven to be carcinogenic. And the most potent of them and deadly of them is nitrosamine. And that nitrosamine, there have been experiments, and some people who may be listening to you, if you take a paste of nitrosamine and put it on the skin of the nude mice, experiments that we do
Yeah.
for the nude mice, on the skin you develop cancer. So you can imagine this nitrosamines is a powerful carcinogenic chemical which is found in all forms of smokeless tobacco, apart from many other toxic chemicals that are there. So to say that my grandfather was using smokeless tobacco for 80 years and he did not die of cancer, there are people who are suffering from cancer and they are not using tobacco. This is all a denial that most smokeless tobacco users who are addicted, they try to quit it, but they fail multiple times. Then they start believing that yes, it is safe, it is harmless because many people are using it. I keep telling them, many people are using it, which you see on the street. Come to hospital. Are 50% to 60% cancers in Tata Hospital are related to tobacco. You won't find them on the street. You will find them when you come to the hospital.